Hey, this is Mike from GoCellPhoneRepair.com, and today I'm going to take a look at the iFixit Pro Tech Toolkit. This is was actually sent to me a while back from iFixit as a sample to check out. So I have used their tools before. I know that they typically make some pretty good quality stuff, but I want to take a look inside here and just kind of show you what you get if you're looking for some basic tools all in one place. This is actually not a bad place to buy them. iFixit, they send you this tool roll, which is really cool because you have all your stuff in one spot. If you're going to be doing mobile repairs, this is great. You can just kind of roll everything up when you're done. Oops, this way, close it, take it with you. So on the inside here, we have a variety of all kinds of stuff. Mainly, though, what we're going to be looking at are the drivers, 54-bit driver kit that comes with this. So you get tons and tons of drivers, more than you're ever going to need for fixing cell phones. This toolkit is actually designed for doing a little bit more than just phones. So what I'm going to be doing is taking a look at how we can use this. Alright, so on the inside we have a very nice high quality driver here with an extension built into it. I like this. This is kind of similar to the Pentalobe driver styles, the better ones that are coming out now. So I do like this driver. It's actually got a couple of attachments here. One of them being something that we've all wanted at one point in time or another, and that is this little device, which will allow you to basically reach around corners and turn this thing, which is pretty cool. Obviously you're not going to be able to put a tremendous amount of torque on this, but if you have an awkward area that you're trying to reach into, that'll help you. Not going to happen too much on cell phones, but if you're working with other electronics, that can definitely come in handy. Let's see if we can get it back in the box. There we go. Alright, so from the front here we've got our Phillips drivers here, PH000 all the way up to PH2. So this will cover you pretty well for most cell phones you're going to be working on. We've also got a triangle up here in the corner, 3mm, and this is going to be used mainly for if you work on small toys, especially the type that they give away in fast food restaurants. These tend to come in handy, also known as a TA. The interesting thing is that they've got the TA triangle, but they do not have the rouleau triangle, which is the triangle with the rounded edges. However, I believe you could probably get away with this in that situation. As long as the size matched up right, that would probably work. So probably why they did not include that in the box. We've got our slotted drivers here, 3.5 and 4. And then right next to it here, you've got your JIS drivers, which is interesting. So a long time ago, they had a lot of trouble in manufacturing when you used a Phillips tip, because these things would cam out if you applied too much pressure because of the way the tip is designed. So they came up with something called Japanese Industrial Standard, and it's a slightly different design on the tip, and it's made for a specific type of screw so that when you put this in, if you've got to apply a large amount of pressure, it's less likely to strip the head of the screw or the driver itself. So it's kind of cool that they included these, and you'll probably come across those once in a while. We got some more slotted tips here behind this previous row. So basically you've got everything from a 1 to a 4mm on the flatheads, and they have included a SIM card ejector, which is kind of cool, different idea. I like this because a lot of technicians will take their Pentalobe driver and they will be tempted to try to remove a SIM card with it. And what happens when you do that, if you put pressure on the end of a Pentalobe driver, you're going to end up damaging the tip, and what that leads to is stripping out the screws. So you want to basically make sure you don't use your Pentalobe driver for anything except Pentalobe screws. Now, the only problem I had with this is that it's not very long, so when you push down here, you literally have to grab the SIM card tray to remove it. Not too bad, but it's definitely designed for Apple products, because if you go to a different style of phone and you try to pop the SIM card tray out, it just doesn't get down in far enough so that you can actually grab the tray. So if I had one suggestion, it would be just make this a little bit longer. I mean, it wouldn't take much, and then we can get a full ejection out of a variety of phones. But for the time being, I think I'll stay with either a proper SIM card ejection tool or a paper clip. Both will get the job done a lot easier than this one will. But I do like the idea of including that in the set. Behind here we have got our Torx Bits, and we've got everything from T3 up to T6 in a standard Torx, and at T7 they switch over to a Torx security bit, which is pretty cool because you will find in those sizes every once in a while that they've used a security bit that has a hole in the center. So you could use this on a standard T7, or you can use remove a T7 security bit if you run across one of those. The only thing about this, and this is a very minor issue here, is that on the old BlackBerry Torch they actually used a T2 bit, which is a little bit smaller than this. So sometimes you can get by with the T3, but you may end up wishing you had a T2 at some point because those do strip very often. Fortunately or unfortunately, you will probably not run across too many BlackBerries anytime in the future, so not too much to worry about, at least not the older style like the BlackBerry Torch. So here we've got the Torx security bits going all the way up to a T20, and then we have our TriPoint bits, Y0 and Y1. These are actually called Tri-Wing on the back of the box, but these are not Tri-Wing bits. These are actually TriPoint bits. Very common mistake. People tend to label interchange those two terms because they're just very rare. You don't see them too often here in the US. You might come across like a Kyocera or a Sanyo phone or perhaps some other type of device that will use these TriPoint bits. There is at least one Samsung tablet I can think of that requires this TriPoint, so good that we have these included in the set. Back here we have our pentalobe drivers from 2 up to 6, so you can open, it says on the back of the box, iPhone, that's obviously what the 2 is for, and then MacBook Air, MacBook Pro, you'll require these other bits, so it's nice, again, to have these included. And now we have our square drivers here from 0 up to a SQ0 up to SQ2. These are also known as Robertson's bit or Robertson bit, and you won't see these very often. You definitely won't see these in cell phones, none that I'm aware of in any case, but there are some other appliances and electronics that do make use of the square bit, so nice to have those as well. And behind this directly we have our hex bits, and these go all the way from 0.7 all the way up to 6 millimeter, basically the equivalent of an Allen wrench that you actually have a bit for. So that's kind of nice. It's really kind of a small driver probably to be using a 6 millimeter bit on, but again, if you're working with electronics, for the most part this should be able to get the job done. And if it doesn't, what's interesting about this, we noticed, is that if you wanted to really get some leverage, you can actually use this hole, and I don't typically recommend doing this, but if you needed to, you can get a little extra leverage putting something through here and twisting it. Again, you should never have to twist that hard on a cell phone, but there may be some other things that you might use that for, so that'll give you that extra little push if you're working with something really tight. So here in the back row we have some actual nut drivers all the way from 2.5 all the way up to 5, and then again we have our magnet over here, which is pretty cool. You can put this on the end and chase any of your screws around if you lose them inside of your project. And of course, if you want to get a little bit further inside, we do have an extension here, so that works out well. Let's see if we can. Now, this is okay. I'd really like it if these were attached and just swiveled, but I suppose if you wanted to pull something out for a project, set it aside on your desk, that would work too. I love the holder. These little plastic things in here you have to take really good care of lest they crack, and I'll leave this one somewhere like this. In any case, let's take a look at the rest of what's in the tool roll. So over here on the left we have a few pry tools and some tweezers. Right here we have a box cutter, which is nice. We always want to have a blade to work with, and of course this is refillable, so got branding here, a little clip so you can clip that to whatever, although it looks like I just bent it when I pulled on it there, so we can clip that to whatever. Over here we've got a couple, 3 actually, ESD safe. These are very fine point, and as long as you don't pry with them they will stay precise. Keep the cap on, these last forever. When you start prying on stuff with these, they bend out of shape and then they don't pick up very well, but these are nice because they are ESD safe. You will not conduct electricity or shock anything inside of your project. And then we have a variation here. We've got one that's kind of bent at the end. and a wider tip on this one. If you don't need as much precision, but you need to cover a little more area. Now we've got some what I call disposable pry tools here. These will work a few times, and typically what happens is the end of these just wears out really fast. So I would consider these disposable. They don't typically last very long, but better than nothing. Here we have our ESD strap, so if you want to put this onto your wrist while you're working and ground yourself, you can make sure that you don't destroy anything. I have not run into any problems with cell phones, but if you're working on computers at all, especially around RAM and processors, you want to make sure that you ground yourself anytime you basically take the case apart, because there are a lot of components in there that can be destroyed very easily. So nice that they have the ESD strap inside here, and I believe this is the one that's detachable. So this is what's really cool, is you put this on, and if you want to walk away from your project, you just unsnap it. That way when you get back, you don't have to fool around with this thing, putting it on. If you work in an area with a lot of static electricity in the air, very good investment. If you zap one phone and it doesn't work anymore, this will save you a lot of liability. So the cost of this thing, even by itself, is well worth the investment. They run about $6 or $7 if you buy them separately. But we have it in our kit, so won't have to worry about that. And got air in the bag here. Tough to collapse it like that. On the right-hand side, we have our plastic stick spudger. These come in very handy. Not designed to be super durable, so you don't want to put a lot of pressure on them, but I do like these because they get in to pry in places. A good example would be this phone, where you have to remove a flex cable that's plugged in here underneath the screen before you even lift the screen out. So you can get down in pretty far and disconnect things with these. You can also use them for prying, spudging. Again, it's plastic, so it's not going to last forever if you're rough on it, but they did include some metal spudgers on the inside here. So if you're working on things that need a little more prying pressure, this will come in handy. I have never used this before. I'm sure it has a specific application that is not related to cell phone repair, but who knows, maybe we can get underneath the battery with this to pry it out. But what I don't like is concentrating a lot of pressure on a small point like that, so this is probably made for something else. Again, you have a total of 3 of different designs. Very nice that they included these. And over here we have a measuring tool, which I don't have to explain why that would come in handy, but if you need a conversion on the back also, so if you need to measure something, we have a little sliding mechanism here we can use this for. You can almost use it as a triangle and clip that on. Again, it's got the little clip down here. So overall, pretty nice kit. It does include a lot of the tools that we use in this industry. Probably the only thing that I would really like to see inside of here included that wasn't, let's see, am I putting this in the right spot? Okay. The only thing that I'd probably add to this, if possible, would be a magnetizer. We do have a magnetic bit here, but we don't really have a magnetizer, which is really nice to have with your bits. I suppose we could magnetize using this. It'd be a little trickier, but definitely possible. And you can find the tools that you need for repairing cell phones separately, possibly at a slightly lower cost than this. However, for the price, with what you get in this kit, it's very convenient. You can buy it all at once. It comes with this nice bag that you can roll everything into, take it with you. So overall, I would say pretty good value for the price, especially if you're going to be mobile. You can carry this stuff around with you, and it stays nice and secure, nothing shaking around on the inside. And there you have it.
If you found the video helpful, hit the like button, share it with your friends, subscribe to my channel, and follow me on Twitter or Facebook. Post your questions in the comment section below or visit gocellphonerepair.com/forum. Thanks for watching.